what I want you guys to be thinking about is I want you thinking about tailoring your presentation to the needs of the homeowner. The cool thing about home value leads is more than likely, they're not talking to other agents yet. And so that's to your advantage. All right. Welcome, 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 everybody. Good to see you. My name is Barry Jenkins, and I run an 80 agent team in Virginia Beach. And I wrote a best-selling book called Too Nice for Sales that I think sold 26,000. I haven't checked recently. And the team at Meskula has asked me to spend time with their users every week, applying the principles of the book to your business. And the flow, because I do see some new faces, is very one-to-one. So you're gonna occasionally raise your hand or unmute, and you're gonna have a situation or a question that you're gonna want me to speak to, right? Like, hey, for example, leads aren't answering the phone. I'm leaving voicemails. People aren't calling me back. I'm not getting appointments, or I'm getting appointments and I'm not getting listings, or anything and everything. So let's kick it off. Has anybody had any successful calls in the last couple of weeks that we can start with? Anything that has gone well with, talking to a lead, meeting with a lead, getting a listing, anything like that? It's okay if not, but felt like we should start with a win. All right. That's okay. I know lots of people are driving as well, so no problem.
I saw Joy's mic open up, Barry. Just want to make sure she wasn't going to say anything.
I just wanted to commend you, Barry, as well as Victor. I'm finding a lot of value from both listening to you and meeting with Victor. And so it's helping me a lot get past the objection of, well, I'm not interested. So my question, Victor and I had this week, or he said maybe I should put that out there, is just with the clients who want to, I'm having good luck getting the appointments and getting in the door, I think all thanks to you and Victor. But when they say I'm meeting seniors for whatever reason who are thinking in time they'll need to downsize, but they think, well, it'll be over 12 months. Is there any way of moving them along, or best way to keep in touch with them? Thank you.
It's interesting. So I have 3 18 and 19-year-olds real estate agents on my team right now.
Right.
And so I'm the old guy to them, right? And so last week I called, I don't know, maybe 500 seller leads.
Okay.
Yeah, just to show them. Well, actually, 100 were seller leads, 300 was really circle prospecting. Anyway, the common objection that we heard was, where would I move to? Where would I go?
Right.
And that's really what the folks that you're speaking with are saying. And I'll just tell you what I told my agents, and I'll tell you what I'm doing that's working really well is I quickly shift gears and align myself with their concerns. And go ahead.
Good. Thank you.
And so if their concern is where they're going to live, I'm going to stop talking about how much equity that I can get them. I'm going to stop talking about how I could sell it quickly. I'm going to stop talking about how I can make the process easy for them. Those things, while they're all important in and of themselves, they are not motivating to the person that just said, my core concern is I'm not sure where I would go. And so you really have to kind of flip your brain over, and you have to obsess about where they're going. You have to treat this seller lead like a buyer lead. And the faster you can pivot your mindset in the conversation to align yourself with where they're going, the faster you're going to be relevant, and you're going to get a fantastic engagement. In fact, the engagement will be so strong that you will start to refresh them. So with somebody that is up in age, that doesn't have a significant motivation to move anytime soon, for me, what I would do is I would have them dream. All right, Mr. Smith, let's kind of table the whole selling discussion, right? I've made it clear I can sell it for a lot of money. I can sell it quickly. Good. Okay, let's table that. Let's dream for a moment. If you could live anywhere, where would you want to go? and why? Now, surprisingly, or maybe unsurprisingly, depending on how much you study people, a lot of people aren't going to know the answer. They might say to you, "That's the problem. I don't know." And so then you have to really think through, what does someone that has an itch to move but isn't really sure that they want to, well, what do you enjoy doing? Do you enjoy living in XYZ community? Do you ever think about other communities? Have you ever visited another community that you might want to go to in another state or even another country, to where you can be exposed to that? You only live once. One of my agents said to his client, well, look, you're an empty nest, you're retired, you could literally live on a cruise ship for a year for cheaper than it would be to rent while you search for your next home. I thought that was kind of crazy, but the person actually seriously considered it. Well, what do you mean? When they went through down this big rabbit hole of what it would mean to live on a cruise ship for a year. But that's kind of embodies what you have to do. And I think when you, especially when you're buying seller leads or you're focused on getting listings, it's really hard to shift quickly and focus on being a buyer's agent. And as you dream with them, you become an integral part of that dream. So I'll use an easy example. They say that they want to move to another state. You tell your age or that client, I have agents across the country I work with. I can interview agents in Miami or whatever city you're thinking about moving to, and I can help you find the agent that's right for you. And this actually works. They really buy into this because now suddenly you're helping them with focusing on where they want to go next. I really feel like this topic generally is the difference between people converting, like, one lead a month to three, because there's only so much you can do with regards to, you can't control the readiness of the lead on the other end of the phone. That's luck. Most people aren't ready. And so to the degree that you can become an important part of that process, the more success you'll have.
Yes, that does make sense. That they probably say 12 months plus just because they have no idea what the next move is. So
Okay.
we need to have strategy to engage that thought process.
Yes, absolutely. And just in given the fact that the name of your business is The Joy in Real Estate, I feel like this concept for you is going to help you to really press in to helping people find that joy in real estate. And you will accidentally become, in many regards, a closer. People will, the other agents you work with will say, how did you increase your sales from 30 a year to 40? What did you do? And you'll probably say something kind like, well, I just decided I would care about people. And the piece that we're all missing is manifesting your care for these strangers, these leads, these homeowners, instead of being passive. Well, call me when you're ready, I'm here, let me know if you have any questions, I'll shoot you an email with lots of information. That's how most of us care for people. What I'm advocating is for an aggressive style of caring for people that integrates you into the process. So yeah, press into that. I think there's something really, really, really special there for you. Okay.
Thank you very much. I
You're
appreciate
welcome. Yeah. So, all right. So Cheryl said she's just getting voicemails. She leaves messages. She's not getting callbacks, very many. And when they do, they say they're only interested in knowing what their value is and not interested in selling. I would like to get some advice to get through that obstacle, man. If like that is the obstacle, Cheryl. So you've really clarified, I think, what a lot of people struggle with when they're buying online leads. The first thing I want to talk about is the voicemail. All right. I want your voicemails now to no longer be you asking them anything. So, for example, hey, you contacted me about your home value. I had some questions for you. Let me know when you have a moment, right? Or, hey, John, I got your message. Looks like you're looking for your home value. I have two questions for you. Something that's like asking them for something. What I want you to do is I want your voicemails to be very to the point. And in the voicemail, I want you to have something for them. So Instead of saying, hey, I wanted to check, it looks like you had your home value. I'm just calling to follow up with you. Give me a call when you have a moment. That's probably more or less what a lot of you are saying in your voicemails. What I want your voicemail to be is something like, hey, John, I saw that you were looking for your home value. I was able to start to pull some data together, but I had two specific questions about your property that I need to confirm before I can give you a number, an accurate number. When you have 5 minutes, give me a call back. And then I'm going to send them a text message. And in the text message, I'm going to say, hey, I just left you a message about your home value. Let me know when you have 5 minutes to talk. Right. I'm going to dovetail the two back and forth, back and forth. And in the voicemail, I probably am going to say, I'll shoot you a text as well. You notice, though, what I did, they get to call. I'm giving this lead the luxury of calling me back, and they get to just say, what did you have to tell me? Or what question did you have so that you can get my home value? They don't have to, you're not burdening them, which is what most of our voicemails are. We are burdening the prospect with having enough information about the process to figure out a question to ask. And I joke about this a lot, but man, in high school, I really didn't pay attention at all. I was an athlete, and uh, I think I was given a pass generally because the teams that I was on, we won lots of awards and things like that. And when the teacher would ask, does anybody have any questions? I wasn't listening. I didn't know enough about the subject to crystallize or clarify what my needs were. And so I didn't ask any questions, right? So don't ask them for anything. Tell them what you have for them and why you need to speak. What you'll see is an increase in return calls. Everybody's not going to return your message. Okay. They're just not. However, you will see a bump in callbacks if you do two things. So somebody's asking to repeat the voicemail. I don't remember exactly what I said the first time, but more or less, hey, Mr. Smith, this is Barry with Better Homes and Gardens Real Estate. So here it is. I got your request for your home value, and I had two specific things that I wanted to tell you and I need to ask you about to confirm an accurate home evaluation. You don't have to use those exact words specifically, but I always like to put a number next to what I'm asking. It's the same reason magazines put a number next to three recipes to lose belly fat, or 5 ways to make your partner happy, or whatever. By putting a number next to the data, it heightens the fact that it's special. And you want to give them the freedom to call back and just say, what are the two things you need to know? It makes it easier for them, right? And at the end of the message, I'm going to go ahead and shoot you a text as well. And then you send the text and say, I just left you a voicemail. Somehow saying that you're going to do it in the respective voicemail or text message makes it a little less creepy and annoying, just a little bit, right? So that's one. Let me pause before I move to the objection of, you just want my home value. Cheryl, do you have any questions about that slight tweak at all? No?
No,
Okay.
it's great.
Okay.
Thank you.
Just out of curiosity, Cheryl, was your voicemail more or less, hey, following up with your request type vibes? Is that more or less? Okay. Yeah. No more of that. No,
Okay.
no more of that. I wouldn't call you back either. I'd be like, oh, that's work. I don't want to deal with it. All right. So then, with regards to, I just want my home value. Some people aren't going to be super aggressive in their position of just wanting their home value. I would say it's 50-50. Like half of the people are like, yeah, I just wanted my home value. And you can just keep talking and they'll give you a pass. You could say, okay, no problem. So tell me about your house. And they'll actually talk to you. The other half of people, when you're like, tell me about your house, look, I didn't really sign up for this. Can you just give me a number? Right. So they're two very different personalities. I'll tell you that generally speaking, the people that dig their heels in with just wanting the home value, they have a disposition of not wanting to be sold anything, not being taken advantage of, not being cheated. For those people, I'm typically going to just give them what they ask for, but I'm going to give them a broad enough range where I'm still valuable. So if the home is worth 500,000, and I'm probably going to use an automated system. I'm not going to do a ton of work for somebody that has not earned the right for me to spend a lot of time for them. So I know they probably check Zillow already. I know they probably check their respective tax records. So if you can quickly glance at those, only so that you can see what they think their home is worth, right? Because they trust those sources. Then if you have a moment while you're on the phone, say, sure, hold on, let me check something real quick. And you pull up just the neighborhood and you get to just say, well, the lowest price sale in the last 6 months is 400,000. The highest price sale in your neighborhood is 600,000. So it's definitely within that range. Where you fall in that spectrum, there's a few factors that determine that. And that's when I say, for example, and then I'm going to ask him a question about his house. Have you updated the kitchen? Right? Let's see. Hold on. Like, have you updated the kitchen? Or have you updated the roof? Have you done any upgrades to the property? There's a lot of things that you could ask, but the thing I want you to focus on here is I'm giving them what they asked for by giving them a broad range. I'm not arguing. What we normally do is we say, well, I can't really do that without walking the property. And now I'm in an argument and they say something like, well, that's not what the ad said. And you have to debate the rightness or the wrongness of your marketing plan and the fact that you're not giving them a number. Let's just avoid that whole dilemma because they're already pushing you away. So by giving them a range, you're quasi checking that box, admittedly not well, but you are checking that box. And I'm not pausing to ask for their approval in that moment. I'm not saying, well, it's 400 to 600. Does that make sense? I'm not going to wait for their affirmation because they're not going to be pleased with that. What I'm going to do is I've given them what they asked for, and I'm going to go right into talking about what I want to talk about, which is really just the dialogue about the value of their home, the condition of their property. The reason why I want to talk about that is twofold, Cheryl. One, I do need to know that to give an accurate evaluation. But two, I'm hoping in the process of them sharing those details, I get to learn a little bit about them. And I'm going to latch on to anything they have to say with regards to, well, I updated the kitchen because I have my adult children come from out of town for Thanksgiving and we like to have a big meal. Anything at all that you can relate on a human to human level, take that and press into it. I want them to feel like they learned a little bit about Cheryl before they get off the phone. Okay. Then so let me back up. I give them what they asked for in a broad sense. I use Zillow or tax records just so I can know where their head is at. Then I'm going to start asking them condition about the home in hopes of learning more about the condition of the home and building rapport. Super valuable. From there, depending on the conversation, my favorite question is to say something along the lines of this. I'm sure you're not selling anytime soon, but out of curiosity, if the price was right, would you be open to receiving an offer for your property? Would you be open to receiving an offer for your property in the next 6 to 12 months is what we say. And if they say they're not open to receiving an offer in the next year, just give them the information. Apparently they're not a real seller right now, because to say no to that means they're not even in the ballpark yet. They're not even close. I might be really impressed by that, candidly, depending on how much I want to talk to this person. If they're rude and belligerent, probably not. But if they've been polite and I say, just out of curiosity, it doesn't sound like you're really close to selling, but out of curiosity, if the price was right, would you be open to receiving an offer on your property in the next 6 to 12 months? And they say no, I'm probably going to say, that's amazing. What is it you love about your home that would want you to stay there even if the price was right? Like, I'm going to come from curiosity. Like, tell me more about that, right? And just to see if there's anything there. Are they lying to me? Anything like that. Now, the people that aren't, just give me a number. They said, I want the number. And then you say, sure, I just had a couple of questions about the property. And they allow you to talk about that. You're going to find those people more than likely are probably going to say to you, when you say, would you be open to receiving an offer if the price was right in the next 6 to 12 months? Those people are going to say something like, I would consider it, right? Still not like a slam dunk, but they're like, yeah, maybe I'd be open to at least looking at it. That's when you start dreaming with them. Well, tell me, let's stay down this lane of dreaming. If you did get a good price offer, in the next year. Would you want to stay local or would you want to move out of town? So similar to the other question I gave you guys, right? Where would you want to move to? But this is a softball question. Would you stay in town or out of town? It's an easy question to answer. And you just keep pressing into where they would go next. The fundamental issue, okay, home value leads are fantastic to talk to homeowners that want to talk about their home value, right? The great challenge and dilemma all of us have is there's typically not a lot of urgency with someone that wants to sell their home. Most people are not in a hurry to sell the largest financial asset that they own, right? So the close for us that some of the people on this call that have been here for a while have mastered, and they could probably teach it just as well as I do because they've been using it, is we say, well, since you're open to selling in the next 6 to 12 months, I need to do a walkthrough of your property. I don't want you wasting money fixing things that aren't going to get you a return on investment. And I can't do this walkthrough when you're ready to sell. When you're ready to sell, you've already spent the money replacing light switches and updating fixtures and new cabinets or new decking. I, early on, can look at the home like a buyer and I can protect you from wasting money. There's not enough homes for sale in my market. You can get away with a lot right now because there's just not that much available. And I need to look at your home. It takes 15 minutes. I like to do these walkthroughs Wednesday afternoons or Saturday mornings. What works best for you? That's the close. Now, when you get in that house, Cheryl, and you're there to walk the property, make sure you have a full-on CMA and a full-on listing presentation. When you get done walking the home, building rapport, looking at pictures and talking about their favorite sports teams or whatever's on the wall, that's when you say, I also have a full comparative market analysis of the value. Do you have another few minutes? We can sit down and go over it. At that point, most of the sellers that my agents are working with say yes. They're like, okay, sure. Then once you do that, hey, I know you're not ready yet, but would you like me to go through some of my marketing techniques? I'm not going to go over all of it, but there's a couple of things I think that could really work here. You have now effectively backdoored into listing presentation. And if you're able to sell it for more than they thought or within the reason of what they thought, and you've built rapport, at that point, we're shrinking that funnel from 6 to 12 months to 3 to 4 months pretty consistently. What all of us want when we're buying seller leads is a seller lead that says, I'm glad you called, or hi, yes, I do need to sell in the next 60 days. I'm moving. Those are fantastic. Those are so much fun, right? We get on these calls and we're like, hey, I just got an easy one, right? The problem is the easy ones don't pay the bills in any lead gen, in any marketing. The difference between the people that like barely make it and the people that really bring in revenue from a lead source are the ones that are able to climb up the metaphorical tree, right? Bottom of funnel, top of funnel, low hanging fruit, high hanging fruit. The more you're able to climb up that tree, the better you are. And the way you climb is you're able to parse through the lack of urgency and the lack of clarity. And the last thing I'll say to this is by asking these questions, you are giving the lead the benefit of having someone to talk to that they can get off the call with you and they have more clarity about their needs than when they stopped. I don't have a long list of people in my life that I can do that, where I talk to them and I finish the conversation and I've done some self-exploration. That's what this really is all about. It's actually quite charming. You can lay your head on the pillow at night and feel good about yourself as a professional because you're making a very difficult transaction easy for people. Any questions about that?
No, I think it's all great. I'm absorbing it all in. I like
Okay.
I have a question.
Okay.
So when it comes to the listing presentation, like what advice do you have regarding the presentation itself? Like we got in the home, we walk through the house, we have the CMA ready. We're at the end of the walk. Now it's trying to kind of convince them of the um to move forward.
Yeah.
So that's the presentation. What do you bring with you? How long does it last? Like what advice do you have when it comes to the presentation itself?
Yeah. I mean, we like to focus on the buyers we have looking for a home like theirs. If you don't have a lot of buyers, you can take a different route, but I'm just going to share what we're doing. We actually have a graphic where we put like, let's say it's Virginia Beach. We grab an image from Google Maps and we have like a smattering of buyer activity on the Google map. And so we literally say, hey, here's my database right now for Virginia Beach. As you can see, I've got a lot of people looking for homes in your price range. I know you're not in a hurry, but I would love to go over how I will market your property to these 50 people. So this is an interesting angle. When you think about listing presentations, normally it's like, I'm going to do professional photography, which is important, and I'm going to do a video, and I sell 2% higher than other agents in my market. Like, all those things matter. But what really matters to a homeowner is, are you going to be a part of finding a buyer for my house? And so we've reverse engineered that by saying, well, let's focus on the buyers we have in our database, and let's see if we can show the people visually that we're going to find that buyer for them. Now, a question that, that question of a listing presentation, what I want you guys to be thinking about is, I want you thinking about tailoring your presentation to the needs of the homeowner. The cool thing about home value leads is, more than likely, they're not talking to other agents yet. And so that's to your advantage, right? If they were responding to a sell your home in 30 days or less ad, which, by the way, the reason why nobody runs those ads is because it'd probably be like $5,000 a lead, because there's not a lot of people that need to sell their home in 30 days. So like, it just doesn't make sense. But for most of these people, they don't clarity around what they want yet. So, if they're looking at selling soon, I'm going to questions like, when will you be making a decision on when you want to list? I'm not going to say, are you interviewing other agents yet? Not yet. At some point, I might ask that question if I can feel them pushing away a little bit. But I don't want to invite the idea of interviewing other agents. But what I do is say, when will you be making a decision on when you want to put a sign in the yard, or when you want to list the home for sale? And if it's within the next 90 days, I'm going to go in a full-on listing presentation. I'm going to go over the photos. I'm going to go over the videography. I'm going to go over how we set our properties apart. A cool way to do that is talking about Zillow, believe it or not. Zillow is one of the most trusted brands in the country of America. So all of the stateside folks, I know in Canada, you guys don't have to worry about it, but in the United States, it's a really trusted brand. So talking about some of the metrics that set the home apart on that website, and it really resonates with people. So photo count, having a high volume, at least 32. I think they changed it to 48 or 52 photos. Having a high resolution Zillow video walkthrough as well. Having a certain number of remarks about the property when you're writing the description. Which, by the way, if you guys aren't using ChatGPT for your listing descriptions, you probably try it. Just take the old. You shouldn't take old listing description, because it's not yours. But that's just what we do, right? We just take the old one, put it in ChatGPT, rewrite this, make it sound exciting, and then you can look at it and you can tweak it. And having the description a certain number of characters in the Zillow helps it rank higher, right? And so all of those things, that you're giving them insider secrets, right? And it goes a long way. If the home's worth 300,000, but Zillow says it's worth 275, right? Instantly, the consumer thinks you're overpriced. So we would do a pre-listing appraisal, and the first words in the public remarks, if we listed it for 300, Zillow says it's worth 275, we've listed this at the appraised value. So they trust Zillow, but they trust an appraiser more, potential buyers. The other thing I'm going to tell, so let me pause there. Any questions about what I've gone over so far with that, Laith? No? Okay. Then I'm going to go over social proof, reviews. You need to get 42% of all home sellers said that they chose the agent that they worked with based off of their Google or Zillow reviews. So take a screenshot of that page. Make sure Google is there, meaning like, so Google shows up. And and then we do have another question. Talk with your broker if you're allowed to call someone that texts stop. In my market, if they text stop, we can still call and email. We just can't text, right? But that's like a legal thing. I will say though that the reason why we call the stops are because, sorry, I'm late for another meeting. Let me just tell them I'm waxing eloquent, is we when they text a bot stop, we call the lead and we say, hey, you just texted my assistant to stop. I just am calling to say sorry. We won't text you anymore. And then we're just quiet. People don't apologize in our culture anymore. Like, it's so refreshing to hear an apology. And then you just pause. Hey, this is Barry, Better Homes and Gardens. Saw that my assistant was texting and you told her stop. I just wanted to let you know she's not going to text you anymore. I'm really sorry about that. Some, maybe a third, are going to laugh or say, oh, I thought it was a robot. And then you laugh. Oh, okay. Haha, no problem. Are you looking to sell your home anytime soon? Some of them are actually going to say yes, right? So it's just a fantastic way to stay relevant to people and think outside the box. Any other questions before we jump off? All right. I hope you guys found this helpful. We will do next Tuesday. Karen and the team will be notifying everybody about that instead of Friday. I'll be on a plane. And just keep amazing questions. Be super passionate about serving these strangers on the other end of the phone. Know that they're pushing you away has nothing to do with you. Care enough to sit in an uncomfortable conversation for 3 to 4 minutes. You will make more money and you'll become more valuable to the end consumer. Okay? Thanks, guys.
Thank you all. Happy Friday and see you guys very soon.